This meal in a jar version of chicken cacciatore, made with freeze-dried ingredients, is a rustic and hearty dish that can be served on its own or over something like pasta. I had some leftover mashed potatoes, so I used those. It was delicious. It's rich, savory, and comforting. A one-pot meal that's sure to please. Well, hi there, everyone. My name is Kareth. I'm a wife, a mom, an author, and a cook. On this channel, I like to create recipes using freeze-dried food. Sometimes it's completely shelf-stable, like a meal or a mix in a jar. Other times, I combine freeze-dried with fresh, but all the time, it's delicious. I'm here to help people who have freeze-dried food on their shelves to know how to cook with it. I test out recipes so you don't have to. Welcome to the Freeze-Dried Foodie. So for this version of chicken cacciatore, it is going to be a little more on the stew side than on just, a regular dish. Now, I think it does mean hunter's stew, so I'm not too far off on this version, but just the nature of freeze-dried ingredients that I'm going to be using, it's going to be a little bit more towards the liquid side. It's typically made with bone-in, skin-on chicken. And so it makes a really big difference that in a freeze-dried version, I don't really have that. I'm going to be using this pulled chicken that I got from the freeze-dry wholesalers, but you can use any kind of freeze-dried chicken if you want to make this into a meal in a jar, or you could just use the supporting cast, freeze-dried versions of peppers and onions and tomatoes and all that, and then use actual fresh bone-in, skin-on chicken and make it in a more traditional way. But I just wanted to show you that you can make a version of it as a meal in a jar, and it's actually really delicious. So I needed about 3 servings, so I got out a quart-sized jar. In the bottom, I added that pulled chicken, and then I'm adding some of my tomato sauce. Now, you can use the kind from Thrivalist. I have a copycat version of tomato sauce, and I'll include that recipe down below. And then I've got some chicken bouillon and some butter powder. I think the butter powder lends a really nice richness to it. And y'all, I ran out of tomatoes. So I only had like half of the amount that I called for in my own recipe. So I opened a can of stewed tomatoes and added that when I cooked it. And I didn't add the whole thing. I added just like half a cup, but it turned out really great. I do that sort of thing all the time. I combine fresh ingredients, canned ingredients with my freeze-dried ingredients, and they all just play really nicely together. You can definitely mix and match freeze-dried, fresh, canned, all the things, and it should turn out just fine. I'm adding sliced onions because I like the chunkiness of them. I'm also adding 2 colors of bell peppers. You can add all of one or the other. I think most people add the red. And then mushrooms are optional. I think they're great in here. A good amount of garlic will go in here. I also have this freeze-dried mirepoix, so that's celery, onions, and carrots, and I'm going to add that just because I have it, and I think it's great in any kind of stew. That provides a great base for your flavor. All right, so I gave my jar a pat, and then in goes some herbs. I like to add oregano as well as Italian seasoning. The Italian seasoning that I'm adding is a freeze-dried version from Lighthouse brand, and I got it at Walmart, but I really like to add that as well. If you don't have that, you could just skip it. I added a little bit of Goya adobo because it has a good amount of garlic powder in there. And I'm also going to be adding salt, pepper, and some crushed red pepper flakes. If you don't want that spice, it adds a little heat, you can either skip it or reduce that. Okay, so in my jar, I have a little room at the top, and I just didn't want to leave that empty. And so what I decided to do was I had just a little bit of chicken left in the bottom of that jar, and I thought I might as well add it. I mean, you can add whatever you want, right? If you have room at the top of your jar. And so I decided to add also a little bit more of the mirepoix. You could add more red bell peppers. You could include some zucchini, add more mushrooms, whatever you want to add. Just so your jar's full at the end, the amount of seasonings and water will work here. So here's the jar that you could keep stored on your pantry shelf. And if you try this recipe and you like this recipe, then you could assemble several at once. I'm going to suggest you either add some olives or some capers to your dish whenever you prepare this. So you could store those alongside your jar if you would like to do that. Now, it's optional. Not everybody adds olives, not everybody adds capers, but the recipes that I saw online, some people added one or both, and I like both, so I'm going to add a little bit of both. Whenever you're ready to make it, the first thing you'll do is get out a large pot and add 3 or 4 tablespoons of olive oil to the bottom of the pot and let that heat up really nicely. And what I'm going to do here is called a dry saute. I call it a dry saute. I don't know that it has an official name. It's just I've got dried ingredients, freeze-dried ingredients, and I'm going to add them to the hot oil and the pot and give it a stir and saute it for maybe a minute, and that's it. And then I'm going to add some wine to deglaze the pan. Now, these things are going to really help to wake up those seasonings and the flavors, and I just think it helps build flavors. You want to build flavors as you make this dish, and this is the best way I have found to do it, is to do a quick dry saute in olive oil, add some wine. You could add white or red. I just had some red open, so I'm going to use the red, and then pretty quickly that wine the liquid will cook off, and you're going to build some fond in the bottom of your pot, and then you're going to add your water. Okay, and then at that point, stir things, and you can make that decision about, am I going to add olives today? Am I going to add capers today? Add those at that point, and that will simmer along with your stew. So you'll want to bring this up to a boil. And then you're going to want to let it simmer for probably 20 minutes total, maybe 25, something like that. You want those flavors to have a chance to marry in the dish or to come together in the dish. So what I did was I covered mine for the first 10 minutes, but you don't have to do that. You can leave it uncovered if you prefer. It's just I was thinking, oh, this will help that chicken get really nice and rehydrated. I think it would have rehydrated either way. So I gave that a stir and let it go for another 10 or 15 minutes on medium. And as it cooked, you can probably tell the stew gets darker and it gets thicker. So you can just cook this as long as you like, actually. If you want it even thicker, you can cook it for a longer period of time, and more liquid will evaporate off and your stew will get thicker. It does concentrate the flavors, just so you know. All right, now you can serve this over pasta, you can serve it over rice, you can serve it by itself. It doesn't really need anything. I just had some leftover mashed potatoes and I thought, oh, that'll be really good in here. And then I topped it with a little bit of fresh parsley. And that's it. It's ready to eat at this point. My kitchen smelled so good. It's the richness of the tomato sauce. It's the bell peppers. All of those things are going to smell really, really good. And I think it's gorgeous. Just look at that stew. I have read that this stew was probably served with other meats, not just chicken, because it's called hunter stew. So maybe they used rabbit or something like that, but it's very good with this chicken. And I think it would be good with any type of freeze-dried chicken. This is fantastic. The flavors are really rich. There's some acidity from the tomatoes and the wine. There's that umami savoriness from the chicken and the vegetables. And there's a little bit of sweetness to it, to be honest, from those red bell peppers. And then I put the mirepoix in there, so mine has carrots. It marries beautifully with the savory. The olives and the capers, they bring this brininess, this saltiness, this like burst of a bright, salty flavor to the dish. And I love it. But I can remember when I was a kid, I did not like olives or capers. I don't even think I probably ever had capers, but I did not like olives. And when my mom put olives in our dinners, I would pick them out and push them to the side because I really didn't like them. So if you're feeding kids, I mean, you might keep that in mind. But y'all, overall, this dish is just so good. It's really, really full of flavor. I'm so excited to bring it to you. I want you to try it, and I hope you love it. I always say this, but cooking with freeze-dried foods should not be bland or boring or repetitive. So I hope you are enjoying my recipes and finding benefit from my videos and my content. And if you are, would you please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave me a comment below, and then consider purchasing my cookbooks. I have a couple of cookbooks that are out. They're on Amazon in paperback form and on my website, thefreezedriedfoodie.com, in digital form. Those are available for downloads. And I am working on a few booklets. I'm going to do a cook booklet series. That's what I'm calling it, a cook booklet series. I'll talk more about that in the future. I'm excited to bring you some cook booklets that are going to be based on different themes like soups or breakfasts or chicken dinners, that kind of thing. So I'm really excited to have those available for purchase on my website soon. Your Bible verse of the day is Matthew chapter 7, verse 24 and 25. Okay. And it reads, "Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall, because it had been founded on the rock." All right, guys, thank y'all so much for watching the video today, for spending a little bit of your day with me. I appreciate that so much. I hope you have a blessed day, a wonderful week, and until next time, y'all take care and keep thriving.